your shoes tomorrow. Maybe brush your teeth a little longer, use some mouthwash. We have some important guests coming to the city. They're going to give us a look-see and see if Toronto is worthy of the Olympic Games in 2008. Mark Arsenault, Director of Communications for the Toronto 2008 Olympic bid, is with us. Mark, I'm interested, very interested in all the improvements that are being touted and talked about. $300 million yesterday touted for the waterfront redevelopment, transit, housing. How much of this, if we fail to get the 2008 Games, how much of this will still be done? Will the Portlands be just left on their own if we don't get this bid?
No, actually, that's part of the legacy that we put in when we started planning the bid, is we wanted to make sure that, it wasn't an exercise in futility. So everything that's been started has begun in hopes that it would continue and that it would progress and that we'd actually have accomplished goals. So, the thing breaks down into two elements. You've got the bid budget and you've got the waterfront development or city infrastructure budget. And so what we're looking at right now is our bid budget is about $2.9 billion. And I'd like to say to your viewers that that is actually money that's going to be raised in revenues and will be paid for by the private sector and by funds or revenues that are generated by the Games. And then there's the waterfront development budget, and that's completely different. And those are what the monies that the three levels of government have invested in. And they've committed to actually doing the waterfront revitalization and actually making the infrastructure improvements that are necessary for our city to grow.
All right. David?
Hello.
Hi, David. What do you think of the Olympic bid?
Well, in a way, I kind of don't agree with it because we have more important things to focus on within Toronto. I mean, we can't even handle our taxes. Homelessness, if you just heard like last week how they cut the land that they were going to use for low-income housing. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, we could put some of that money, even through it coming from private sectors, towards to help Toronto with the homeless, with what do you want to call again? With the homeless, with housing, with our transit problems.
Well, Mark, I mean, we're hearing a lot of this in this whole bid process right at the beginning.
Right. Well, I mean, one of the things that the bid is going to do is create a legacy of social housing. Once the Olympic Village is completed after the Games, we're going to use the 4,000 units that'll be converted into housing. 2,000 of those units are actually going to be used for social housing.
But what about before then? I mean, like, there's still people going to be homeless. That's still 8 years down the road.
I have to say to that, though, that the Olympics aren't the end-all be-all of the city development. I mean, this is one project which should be amongst others, and we're certainly not saying that we shouldn't go ahead and help the homeless and we shouldn't be putting money into programs on that front. But to say that the Olympics are at the root cause of there being no money being spent on the homeless, I think is very inaccurate. So,
I see they're spending money on the homeless, but I see they're also cutting money. When the Mayor Lastman promises these money to help with the low-income housing for people, and then he turns around and cuts it off the budget. I mean, there's more important things. Like we need a better police budget. If you notice the rising crime, I mean, where's the extra money so we can maybe increase the police force, create better transit, and then maybe look for Olympic bed in the future?
I think they're a very valid point, but there's two ways of looking at how you want to build your city. I mean, you can cut back in services, and suddenly you find yourself with a city that isn't quite as desirable. Or you can be positive and you can invest and you can grow. And for example, the Olympics will generate $5.6 billion in economic revenues, 110,000 new jobs in the lead up to the Games. That's an incredible amount of tax revenues that are going to be available for the city. It means there's infrastructure improvements that are going to happen. And in the end, that means there's more tax dollars coming into the government so that they can spend on the programs that we want. All right. So I think those are very, it's necessary to grow as opposed to cut back.
Let's get back to the phones. Hello, Chris.
Yeah, I would like to know how am I going to support the Olympic? Like, for example, volunteered or...
How you can get involved by volunteering or even getting employed. Maybe.
Yeah, definitely, anybody can log on to our website. We encourage people to do so. We actually just revamped it, and we're relaunching it tonight.
What's the address?
The address is www.to-2008.com. And it's a great site. There's an area there where people can get lots of information and they can sign a volunteer form, and someone will contact you and we'll get you lined up.
What kind of volunteers would you be looking for?
We're doing two-tiered volunteer sign-up. We're doing volunteer sign-up for the Games, and today we've signed up 70,000 people who actually said they've given their name, their phone number, their address, saying we want to help you out for the Games. So that's really impressive, and it just shows the amount of support that we have in the city. But also we're taking volunteers to help out with the bidding process and any of our activities. We have hundreds of people that are working right now on the arrival. and they've been great. So, I mean, the bid is a community bid, and it's really made up of the people who've given their time and effort to make this a reality.
Okay, so there's the key right there. It's www.to-2008.com if you want to find out about volunteering. You're going to have some hefty competition, though, but give it a try. Give it a try. Bill.
Hi, Kevin. How are you today?
Not bad. How you doing, Bill?
Not too bad. Not too bad. This is towards you, Kevin, and Mike there, okay? Question. We have a problem with our fire department, our police, with the budget cutbacks, okay, as well as the redirects in our hospital and shortage of nurses and doctors. What's going to happen if we ever run into a problem?
So you mean in the Olympics, during the Olympics?
Exactly.
All right, so obviously this is something, of course, that is within the bid process itself. As they talk about security and they talk about health as well.
One of the elements actually that the IOC Commission is coming to visit, or the IOC visit is going to point out, is that our hospital facilities, and we're going to be looking at the infrastructure that exists to accommodate emergencies and disasters, and the increased population that's coming in. I mean, there hasn't been Olympics that hasn't considered these issues. It's a major planning process. It's the largest event, in essence, in the world. So all of those elements are taken into consideration and reviewed very closely.
All right.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Bill.
All right.
And it's definitely something the city is going to have to address as well, because there are financial problems with the police budget. There are financial problems right now with firefighters, and of course with the health crunch. So it's obviously something maybe it might force us to address those issues.
Yeah. I think one of the things that we can look at this as well is, I mean, if you bring the Olympics to Toronto, you're in essence recession-proofing your city, and I think that's it's an added bonus for us, and especially in our times that we exist in right now. I think we need to do something just as a safeguard, and I think that puts us in a good position.
All right, Brent. Hello, Brent.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Not bad.
Good. Hi, Mark. I'd like to first thank you for the comment that you just made. I mean, every city that's hosted these Olympics have that problem. They have homeless. You know, they have to take a look at the hospital situations and security situations. So I think everybody's kind of dwelling on these problems, but it's something that every Olympic committee that's put the bid forward has had to deal with.
Well, and it's something that every city deals with as well. I mean, the homelessness is not, Toronto's not a stranger to homeless, but I mean, the homeless is an issue in every city in the world. And I think that, I think as Canadians, we're very compassionate, we're very understanding, and the mere fact that this is the #1 issue of debate in Toronto right now, I think speaks a lot to what we're all about. And I think that's something that the IOC is going to look favorably upon when they arrive here. And I think that's something that we can all be proud of. I'll be the first to say that, you know, the issue isn't resolved and we need to do more about it. So I'd like to also make the distinction that the Olympics are not the cause of the homelessness, and the Olympics are not going to basically remove people from the streets and cart people away. That's not what Canadians are about, and that's not what we're about.
Oh, of course, of course.
All right, thank you, Brent.
Oh, well, I actually just have one more comment.
Go ahead.
I think it's good that we have this bid forward. I hope that we get it. It's time for, Canadians to start uniting and showcasing that we have a strong sense of pride in Canada. It's time for that Canadian pride to really shine through.
Yeah, and the negativity, unfortunately, sometimes shines through beyond that.
The negative...
Or you hear more about it.
You hear more about it, but, you know, I got to admit, we had a van program this summer. We had 3 vans running through all the community events. They were all the multicultural festivals throughout the summer. They were at the beaches. They were at the street festivals. They were everywhere you could find them. That's how we signed up the 70,000 volunteers. The response is overwhelming. Everybody loves this. I mean, and everybody's coming on board. We had a dinner last night to raise money for the bid. 1,300 people, and it took them 6 weeks to organize this.
$800 a plate.
$800 a plate.
Hope it wasn't the rubber chicken that you went off and get at these things. Mark, I got to cut you off there. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, so it's going to be a busy day for you today getting ready. And tomorrow, a very busy, how many days? 8 days?
6 days in total.
We've run out of time. I want to thank Mark Arsenault from the Toronto 2008 Olympic bid for joining us this afternoon. Interact with us anytime. Log on to our City Pulse website, pulse24.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great afternoon.